All right. Ask me anything you want to ask me. I ain't got nothing to hide.
Well,
I'm not
did
ashamed
you?
of myself, my actions, or my attitude. I don't have
Well,
anything to apologize for.
well,
I
they're
believe.
saying about your charges. That's what they're talking
Let's
about.
talk about that. Let's talk
Yeah.
about it. Back
All
in
right.
'89, when I just got out of the service, uh, my friend from high school had been living with a woman that he kind of liked, and I would visit them. On the third visit that I came over there to visit, I caught um, the girl's uncle, this a small girl. I caught his uncle molesting her and interrupted them.
So this is the excuse that he gives so that it wasn't him. Well, there you go. A lot of sex offenders will say that. However, he has acknowledged that the charges relate to him.
And he got to a phone before I got to a phone. And I kept telling the police that this is the person that you need to come look at.
Now remember, this charge relates to a child between 12 to 16 years of age, and I believe that child between 12 and 16 years of age is quite capable of distinguishing between her uncle and catch you later.
So as time goes on, I got my arrest was like I walked in, fingerprinted, I walked out. That's how bad it was because they didn't really think that I was the one perpetrating it anyway, but they weren't investigating the uncle.
No foundation for the detectives thinking that it wasn't him.
Um, we went through court the whole time. I had to have a public defender because I didn't have any money. I'm not rich. I don't make anything off of YouTube. I don't have an income other than disability from Social Security. Uh,
Notice the switch from he's talking about events in 1989, then he's talking about his financial position now.
um, but anyway, um, when we went to court, I tried to spare the um, the victim from doing all those things that a victim has to do, like going to a hospital and all the degradation that they would have sent that poor child through.
Of course, that poor child would have been through that degradation already.
And I pleaded nolo contendere in court. Didn't know then about the law what I know now.
I have my doubts about that. I doubt you know much more now than you did then.
If I'd have known then what I know now, I would have fought it tooth and nail all the way to the end. I didn't really think it was a big deal because, I didn't do anything and I knew I hadn't done anything. So I wasn't worried about it.
Now, both the public defender and the judge in the case would have explained to him what he was doing by pleading nolo contendere. I think he's had this story for years, just denying that it was him.
During the trial, at the end of it, I was under the impression that they were going to find it not guilty. And anyway, it went through. Um, I
There
think
was
they
no
found,
trial.
well, trial means, you stand in front of the judge and you tell them what's going on. And they make a decision. It wasn't even a jury by peer or anything like that.
As I said, I don't think he knows more about the law now than he did then. The consequences of his plea would have been explained to him at the time.
She said that she erred on the side of caution when I talked to her later.
Can you believe this? He talked to the judge later. At the end of the day, he pled, and all the judge was doing was deciding his sentence. And in the unlikely event that he did talk to the judge later, it would have been about the sentence erring on the side of caution, not the fact that she didn't think he'd committed the offence.
Later, but anyway, they ended up investigating the uncle for what was going on with that poor child, and they were fixing to go and arrest him. And this was about a year and a half to close to 2 years after I had gone to trial because I wouldn't shut up about me being innocent.
Sounds fanciful to me.
That me not diddling that poor little child. And when they went to go find him or get him, he ended up getting killed. He wrecked his car up and it killed him. So they didn't have anybody else to arrest, and they never went back and vacated the charges. And I've never had a ton of money to have a lawyer go back and vacate those charges.
Lawyer or no lawyer, you're not going to get those charges vacated. The next bit is me live on the panel. I'd had enough of his fairy tale.
I'm sorry, I've heard the excuses before from
I'm
other
sorry, is that the
monsters.
frog talking
You're
or
you're
somebody that
you're
I've heard
just the
of
same
before?
as all the others.
All right. Well,
You've
hold
come
up,
up with
frog.
your story
Hold up, frog.
and you
So you
expect others
actually
to believe it.
you actually pled out in court then, is what you're saying. You didn't go to trial. You went ahead and pled.
Yeah, I was trying to save the victim because, see, I didn't understand back then what kind of a big deal we're talking about.
Of course
You
you
know,
Yeah.
did.
back
No one
30 years
admits
ago,
no one
Chester the
admits
child
a
molester.
sexual charge against
Is
a
he gonna let
child.
me
I'm
talk or
sorry.
not?
Hold up,
However thick
frog.
you are,
Frog, I
no
tried
one
to tell you, I wasn't
And as you can see, poof, I've gone. Obviously, no questioning the lie was allowed.
going to have you talking. I'm going to let him tell his story. That's what we got to do here. But go ahead, man. So you pled out to stop her from having to go through charges.
So you can see no heart-hitting question there.
See,
Right.
but that's what I'm saying. You was how old? You've been in the service? You just got out of the service?
Yeah, I just had got out of the service.
Yeah.
I had a 6-year-old daughter myself. She died that year from congenital heart defect.
I'm not going to say that's not true, but it's being used to make you feel sorry for him.
Damn, I'm sorry.
I've got 5 other children that are living. One of them was adopted. There's never been any of that crap going on in my family. I'm gonna tell you that
Did
right
you
now.
do any jail time
Yes,
when you pled out?
no.
Well, he's hardly going to say there has been anything like that going on in his family, is he? But this is a definitive lie. He did serve time. How can you forget that? Here again is the entry in the court record, nothing about suspended. And as a nonce, he'd probably have had a special time in jail.
I got
What?
probation.
And that was before there was a sexual offenders list, the way I understand it. This was 89. Sexual offender list didn't come out till what, 93 maybe or something like that, 91.
I really don't know because I don't think along them lines. I'm sure that you know that people of that mindset all the time reoffend.
Another classic. Because I was only caught once, I didn't do it.
They always find another victim.
Rogue Nation, James Madison came out and said they told everybody not to have nothing to do with you, I think, last night on the film.
That's their right.
Yeah, no, I
They
just
have
asked
the
you,
right
did you
to
know
do
that? I've asked you, did you know this? I'm asking you
No,
that.
I didn't know it, but it doesn't matter. I don't care. I know in my heart where I stand, and nobody's judgment or opinion is going to change that. I don't care what people think. I am not the least little bit worried about what others think about something I may or may not have done.
Right.
I'm going to stop this part at that juncture. But the words he chose to use are very interesting there. I think the words he would have used if he hadn't done the crime wouldn't include the words may or may not have done. There is more of the nonce talking about this, and if there's interest in my comments, I'll do a second part.